Channeling is not always receiving this kind of spoken information or deliverance of words. It can be also other kind of information like musical, where you receive a lot of different kind of melodies, tunes, layers after layers of melodies with which you can actually create music. I know some people who have channeled tunes and have produced music out of that, and it really sounds very different. It sounds literally like not from here, because it has this quality of being timeless and spaceless, like it doesn't fit into any genre. You can't really place it into any of the genres or the kind of music that we have heard here, which is why it feels very different and a little out of place, but definitely has a universal quality. Those are the kind of tracks you feel like even if you hear it after 200 years from now, you will still find it relevant. You will still enjoy it. You will not feel like it was created today. You will feel like it was definitely created at that time itself, because of being so timeless, because of having this property of being timeless. When I was just initially learning how to produce music back in 2015 and 16, like really long ago, that is when I used to receive a lot of tunes that way. I used to keep receiving a lot of different melodies, which is why I was nudged to learn production myself, because I would not be able to tell these tunes to anybody. Like, they were all in my head and I would not be able to communicate them to anybody so that they can make it for me. It was also very complicated kind of tunes, like layers and layers of complicated tunes and unpredictable kind of patterns, transitions in the music itself, which I can't explain to anyone, which is in my head. So I will have to create it myself for it to actually come out. So which is the reason I pushed myself to learn production and bring it out. So the first few tracks that I made, they were all mostly instrumentals without any vocals at all, like really long instrumentals like symphony kinds, where there were layers and layers of music, one below the other, and with a lot of different kind of instruments. Wild Woods is one of those tracks which was created actually in 2015, but it had a very timeless quality to it. So even if you hear it today or maybe after 20 years, I'm sure you will always find it relevant. Even back in the time when I had finished the track and I was showing it to people for feedback, they were not able to give me any feedback which I could use, because they were like, okay, we like it, but we don't know in which genre we can place it, or is it ambient, is it meditational music, is it like transcendental kind of beats, or what is it exactly? So I wasn't able to publish those tracks because I wasn't sure how people will receive them. I didn't know what to call them. I don't know which genre I can place them, etc. And then I realized that these tracks are actually much ahead of time, and I have to wait. So they waited in my laptop for a very long time, for like 7 years, and finally I was able to release them in 2022. That's when I was convinced myself that okay, fine, they can go out now. So Wild Woods, Sorcerer's Awakening, Suspense and Harmony, these are few of those complete instrumentals which were made back then. There are still a lot more tracks sitting in my laptop which I'm still yet to release, because I feel like it's not time yet. So when it's time, they will come out. There are also people who create paintings, like channeled paintings, some kind of visions or a certain kind of image they would have seen in their mind, which they are trying to create because there is no other depiction of it anywhere, and they literally have to create it, because without that they can't even explain it to anybody what they saw, right? So there are a couple of channels on YouTube. There is one channel called Attract Passion. There is one I think Spanish person who creates paintings every day on YouTube with the camera at the back showing the process of how he's doing it. And his YouTube channel is quite famous for channel paintings, and they're not even small, like they're quite large format paintings. Even for these musicians and painters, if they are receiving these tunes regularly and these nudges to paint it out, but they are not actually putting it out, then the tunes also will stop coming. When you receive a tune like that, if you don't record it in a scratch format anywhere in your phone itself somewhere, you will forget it immediately. you will not remember it the next moment. So which is why it is important for channelers to immediately record those notes, create a rough sketch of what they generally saw, what they had in their vision, and record it. Basically keep a record of it. And when you keep rejecting these tunes, these ideas, these concepts again and again, they ultimately will stop coming to you because you're not doing anything with it. Then there are people who also do some kind of steps, some kinds of dance mudras. They basically channel very high vibrational, high frequency codes and then decode it into dance mudras, which is very, very interesting. And then they send it out to people through a video screen in the form of healing. When you see that video over and over again at a certain speed, you will come into alignment with that same vibrational zone and then be able to receive that healing, that whatever that person is sending. There is a guy called Ty who does this very regularly. His videos are very inspiring, and I'll link it up in the description so that you can also take a look and understand how he is coding, very, very high vibe information which seems kind of very outer worldly, and how he decodes it is very interesting to watch. It's basically light language only, but in the form of dance.